Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. And for those of you who are not Muslims, may Allah's guidance also be upon them. Today I'm going to be discussing issue that my brethren, the Christian, throw out all the time. And that is, who was the real founder of Christianity? Was it Jesus Christ? Or was it Paul? Matter of fact, Jesus Christ never heard the word Christianity or Christian in his life. But we know Paul came and wrote more than half of the New Testament, 27 books. Paul wrote over 14 books. So clearly he wrote more books concerning Christianity and Jesus Christ and his death and resurrection more than anybody else. And then we also know that Jesus Christ have taught us a lesson. In the book of John chapter 14 verse 15, he said, if you love me, my beloved, meaning the disciple, keep my commandment, and I will pray, and the Father will send you another comforter. We understand that he was preaching the gospel at the time that he was with the disciple. And then we heard also in the book of Matthew chapter, I think 24 verse 24, where Jesus said, for there shall arise many false prophets and false Christs, who will show you many great wonders and signs. If possible, these people will deceive the very elected disciple. So from that point, we understand that Jesus Christ have focused that after him, there will come a lot of people who claim to be prophets and they'll be doing miracles and stuff like that. So we remember Paul, who came long after Jesus Christ left the earth, even though he was contemporary with Jesus Christ, but he's never seen Jesus Christ, nor was he among the elected 12. He came and he gave himself that title of being a prophet of God Almighty. So Jesus Christ, Paul made a statement in 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 8. 2 Timothy 2:8, Paul said, remember that Jesus Christ was raised from the dead according to my gospel, not that of Jesus Christ. So from that get-go, we understand that if you separate the word of Jesus and that of Paul, clearly you would fall into a situation that whatever Paul wrote was not from the behest of Jesus Christ, nor from God Almighty. And then we read also in the book of Galatians chapter 1 verse 8. Paul said, if anyone comes along and teach you any gospel different from what I am teaching you, that person should be cursed. In other words, what Paul was saying is that forget about each and every gospel that came around. My gospel is the one that goes. So if someone comes and teaches you anything concerning other gospel, don't agree with that, just take my gospel. That is what Paul is saying in a very clear, unambiguous statement. Then we also read in the book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 2, Paul said, but I, Paul, said unto you, whosoever is circumcised, Christ will not benefit him, and he has fallen down from grace. Meanwhile, in the book of Luke chapter 2 verse 21, Jesus Christ was circumcised. It reads, when he was 8 days old, he was circumcised and named by the angels Jesus. Who was circumcised? Jesus. But Paul said in the book of Galatians, whosoever is circumcised, Christ will not benefit him. I don't know which gospel should we follow. Then we read also in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 7, where Paul said, I am speaking, not the Lord speaking. In other words, that is what he's saying. In a very diplomatic, clear-cut statement, he's saying he is speaking, not the Lord speaking. So is it something that came out of Jesus Christ or from what Paul is saying? The same 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 25, Paul said, concerning the unmarried and the virgins, I did not receive any commandment from the Lord, but I'm giving my own opinion. So we understand that whatever Paul was writing was opinion from God Almighty. Jesus Christ have warned us. He said the master is greater than the servant. So who is the master? Jesus Christ. Who is the servant? Paul and all those who claim to be the servant of God. So from that point of view, which gospel are we following? That of Jesus Christ or that of Paul? Matter of fact, Paul came long after Christ and he began to write all these books, and it is on to become, part and parcel of Christendom. We read also in the book of Galatians chapter 3 verse 13, Paul said, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the Lord, inasmuch that, he bore the curse for us, because it is written in the gospel, whosoever is hung on the cross is a curse from God. But Christ came and redeemed us from the curse of God. Subhanallah. I don't believe that. I don't believe Christ was a curse. Paul said that. He came to redeem us from the curse of the law. But Jesus said otherwise. in the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 17, Jesus said, do not think that I've come to destroy the law of Moses and the prophet. I've come to fulfill. And I'm telling you, heaven and earth shall pass, but a dot from the law shall not pass till all is fulfilled. And whosoever do the law of Moses and teach someone so will be great. But whosoever cancel a single law from the book of the prophet that came before me will become least. What was Paul doing? Canceling the law. He said, don't circumcise. Don't do this. Anyone who follow any other gospel besides what I'm teaching you, that person should be cursed. So what Paul was doing is that he's going against Jesus Christ. Anytime you contradict a Christian, Paul, you contradict any Christian, Paul. So who was the founder of Christianity? Was it Paul or was it Jesus? Jesus Christ has exonerated himself. He has nothing to do with Christianity. It came long after him, and he never said, I'm a Christian, but he said he came to fulfill the law of Moses. Someone came to him in Jerusalem, and the man said, oh Master, what good thing must I do to enter life eternally, meaning to go to heaven eternally? Then Jesus said, why do you call me good? The only one that is good is the one in heaven. But if you want to enter life eternally, heaven eternally, keep the law and the commandment of Moses. Paul came and contradicted everything. He even said in the book of Romans chapter 10 verse 5, Jesus said, if you believe in your heart and confirm with your lips that Jesus Christ was raised from the dead, you will go to heaven. Don't work, you will go to heaven. But that is not what Jesus preached. Absolutely, it's up to you. Use your God-given boldness and mental power and tell me, is it Paul or is it Jesus? Are you following Paul or are you following Jesus? I believe Jesus Christ, whatever he did is consistent with Islam. Haza billahi tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.